What's the single most important item in your home that has a value of $1 or less? My son found a rock on the way home from school in kindergarten. We were walking home through this park we always cut through, and he grabbed the rock and fell in love with it. It just looked like mud to me, but who cares, he loved it. When we got home I helped him wash it off in the sink and it was black and kinda bluish. He said it was awesome and then gave it to me. It's one of my most precious things in the world to me. Oh, that's adorable. My stepdaughter loved gifting me rocks. I've kept quite a few. One of my favorites is a rose quartz she actually found on a hike in the mountains. It looked like a regular rock, but after we cleaned it up, I noticed it looked like quartz. I asked my friend, who collects minerals, and she told us what it was. I thought that was just absolutely amazing. My collection of old dog tags, literally dogs, I have all my 4-legged dog tags since I was 9, I'm 54 now. I have it in my will to be buried with these. Adding to the list of things I wish I had done. A best brother in the world pin from my brother who passed away. He gave it to me when he was 6. Edit, thanks everyone, it means a lot. It was a few years ago and I've made peace. I hope he's happy. For all you still suffering, I hope you get through it. It gets better. That's very sweet and heartwarming, and I am very sorry for your loss. Speaking of brother, I have kept the loop bands that my youngest brother gave to me 6 years ago. He was just 10 when he made it, just a mediocre rubber band bracelet that I brought with me to study and live abroad. I kept it together with his favorite shirt that he also sneakily tucked in my luggage. Edit, a word. A tiny paper crane a Japanese grandmother gave me when I was in Osaka at a museum. She worked there and was waiting for tourists to come play an educational board game with her. She got no interest, obviously. I reluctantly sat down and played after she caught me on my own with a smile and a beckoning wave. Even though we couldn't speak each other's language and I kept messing up, she was so kind to me. So happy that I sat with her. She made me deal with my impatience and sit with the distress I was feeling that day by slowing me down and making me do something plain and simple. When we were done, she gave me a tiny paper crane from the pile she had made to give to all the tourists that should have sat with her and didn't. It made me really sad. And really happy I'd met her. And I hope she's doing well. This is why I'd also sit with the old people that ran the themed stations at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. I was there once a week for a while, and sometimes I'd hit every single station so the 80-plus-year-old person there would have someone to talk to. I'm already looking forward to being an old docent at a museum and talking to people like you. I'm in my mid-40s and have always loved talking to older people. I had a friend that was in World War II, US Army, and he had the best stories and a ton of Nazi stuff that he took from soldiers he killed. Dude was a straight-up badass airborne ranger that was part of the Alsace death camp liberation. Met the guy while working in the mall, just a lonely man walking around talking to young people. I got my dog for free. It's been a rough year, and she's so empathic. She's a total cuddle bug, and a great shoulder to cry on. I got my cat for free. He was born on an alpaca farm. I love him a lot even though he's kind of a jerk sometimes. Greater than I love him a lot even though he's kind of a jerk sometimes. Said every cat owner, ever. Me included. Dad's straw gardening hat. It's torn and worn. But he died 2 years ago and it reminds me of him when I wear it. My dad used to make these wire puzzle/toys. I have the wire, and I can make more of them. But the ones he made are priceless. Gang shit, my great-grandma always made these for us when we were kids. I couldn't make one, but I run across one here and there and it always makes me smile. One specific screw, it has emotional significance. During our first official date with my GF, I got a flat tire because of that random screw. I had never changed a tire before in my life and I was afraid I'd make a fool of myself in front of her, but it all worked out well and she was super impressed. Next day, when I took my car to the shop to patch the hole, I asked them to return me the screw just for the happy memory. That's really touching. I imagine a screw would be pretty easy to lose. Have you considered using it to hang a small picture of the two of you so that you'd always know where it was? That's a great idea, cheers. My dog Ziggy, I found him in a box outside of a liquor store. He was 6-week pit bull covered on mange. I took him home, bathed him twice a day every day for weeks to get the mange to go away. 4 years later he's the best boy, with a full beautiful coat. I have a church organ in my house that I got for free when a church in another state couldn't find an organist and gave up the organ. I minored in music in college and am an organist, so it's probably the most important less than $1 item I own. Wow. Church organs are big things. Where do you put all the pipes? How did you get it into your house? I have so many questions. It's a MIDI organ. It uses a computer and sound samples of a real organ to make sound through my speaker system. However, I do have a few ranks of pipes that we're, my roommate and I, both musicians, going to rig up to let the organ control, to have a real pipe organ. But as of now, pipes not being functional, it is simply a outwork powered organ. Handwritten letters from my grandmother who passed away a few years ago. While it is sad to see her handwriting get progressively worse for each letter at the end, it is nice to have something that was that close to her. I have them stored in a small box and it always goes into our evacuation bag during fire season. Greater than evacuation bag during fire season, man, it's crazy some of the stuff I take for granted. I guess it makes sense, but I'd never have thought something like that would exist if you hadn't said. Buddy, you said it. I didn't think about it either, but I moved to the West Coast about a year ago just in time for almost the worst fire season in recorded history. You bet your ass we now have a bug-out bag with important documents and supplies. It's scary stuff, packing up what you can carry in your car while ash falls from the sky and you watch the fires creep closer. Some sleepless nights not knowing when the evac order is going to come. Then the discouraging realization that there isn't really anywhere to go, and that federal aid wasn't coming. Nail file with the bit that gets the grit out of your nails. So that is what it's for. I was just making a point of never using it for that in front of anyone in case I was wrong. It just always seemed too convenient to be its true use for some reason. How crazy is it that it's a reasonable assumption that if something works well we must be using it wrong? I got this complimentary little webcam cover that slides back and forth over the camera lens on my laptop. It's saved me from making a fool of myself on Zoom many times now. I got this goodie bag for participating in this one event. And it had a webcam cover in it. Now every day I thank this little guy for helping me during online classes or just for helping me to keep the privacy. I've been working from home, and as my employer, like many others, are soul-sucking demons not fit for this earth. They track you in just about every way possible because it's simply inconceivable to think people would just do the work they're paid to do, regardless of the setting they're in. If I don't interact with the computer for more than 5 minutes, it registers me as away. Heavens forbid I have to poop or something. I got spoken to the very first week of WFH and told you have to be available during work hours by a supervisor who is seemingly never available but was blind to the irony, I guess. In any event, I found that if you navigate to a certain portion of our 1970s software you can endlessly type. I promptly went outside and found a rock which now holds down my spacebar for me anytime I need to walk away for a minute. That rock is, in my eyes, now one of the most important objects in my world, and it was free. Modern problems require Stone Age solutions. I never take rocks for granted. A matchstick. I had a door that was sagging in my house due to the screw over time wearing a larger hole in the wall. And after some research I found a tip that shoving a matchstick with the tip broken off inside, and a dab of glue, could make the hole smaller. That matchstick was worth its weight in gold, so about $1, after it helped me fix a huge annoyance. Alternately toothpicks or a wooden golf tee. The Donovan, it's a $1 bill with a picture of ex-UF basketball coach Billy Donovan taped over the president. It was a single dollar a friend and I would pass back and forth that we would bet on different things. It's a trophy we have passed back and forth over the last 20 years. It's an item that has kept us in touch. The fact that you have misspelled Donovan twice makes me think you really believe he's called Donovan, and I just had to point that out for my own peace of mind. P.S. Love the story behind it, by the way. At least it was a consistent error. I got this one for free, so I'm just gonna say this one, a piece of clay. The clay specifically has my dead cat's paw print in it, so I'd say I can answer this with the clay. I have one of those for my dog. I love the vet's offices that do this. My wife and I had to put our pug down a few years back. The vet sent us a clay paw print in the mail. It's my wife's prized possession. We bought a frame for it, and are going to make a little shrine. The book that my grandma used to read to me. It's worthless, wasn't even listed on Goodreads until I added it, but she died in 2005, the day after my 8th birthday, and remembering her voice reading it is one of the clearest memories I have. Would definitely save it in a fire. What book is it? Cat Crusoe by Mark Burgess, about a sophisticated cat that is shipwrecked and meets a band of giant pirate mice. Lamau. I have a $1 bill saved and put away in a drawer. The significance behind it is it was my last dollar before I decided to stop gambling and doing hard drugs. I had to stop cold turkey. I was so fucking done being a half human, or an empty shell. At first it was just $1 that sat in my center console in my car. I would look at it and be reminded what I was doing. I've been sober for well over a year now. I feel like that $1 is special. I know in Narcotics Anonymous they get something saying how long they've been sober or whatever. That $1 is my token. My token for fighting a silent battle that I cannot share with people, otherwise I could lose my job. When I was 4 or 5, the last time I ever saw my great-grandmother, she gave me a $1 bill and said, as long as you keep this dollar you'll never be broke. I spent it the next day on some candy. That may be my biggest regret. These are my thoughts only, and they are worth about what you paid for them. I believe the universe can give and return. That as long as your great-grandmother is in your heart, you might receive that dollar again. If you are ever struck by a strange feeling over something seemingly insignificant, it might be her bringing that dollar back to you. Her gesture touched you with a memory that may last forever. I think she would consider it a dollar well spent. If COVID has taught us anything, a roll of toilet paper. Dark humor is like toilet paper, not everyone gets it. I have to take pills for tension headaches or I can barely function. I get really dizzy. One pill costs $1. So when a tension headache flares up and I'm dizzy and sick feeling, there is no better dollar spent than on that pill. I get tension headaches too. They suck. Is the pill you take RX or OTC? I must spell this wrong, but it's something like sumatriptan. A rock shaped like a heart. My fiancée and I took a trip to Poland and Greece. I bought her a heart-shaped rock from a salt mine in Poland, didn't cost $1. But at a red sand beach in Greece 4 days later, she found a rock that was shaped perfectly like a heart. This one was free. Both rocks now sit next to each other in our house we just bought. Also, one rock is dark and the other red. I so happen to have red hair and she has dark hair. She found the red heart rock for free and I bought the salt rock. One time, about 5 years into our relationship, my girlfriend, now wife, and I were in separate rooms in our 1-bedroom apartment in early December. From the other room, she hollered to me, "What do you want for Christmas?" I had been working full-time, taking part-time university classes to finish my degree, and had been volunteering as part of a youth mentor program. So I said, all I really want is a break. 3 weeks later, I'm unwrapping a very heavy shoebox. After getting through the mountain of duct tape and several layers of wrapping paper, I had my very own brick. "I really didn't understand what you wanted it for," she said, "but you sounded so sure of it. So here you go." Cue about 10 minutes of laughs, and now that brick sits proudly on my desk. Every time I am overwhelmed or feeling like I have taken on too much, I look at it, pick it up, have a little laugh, and put it back so I can carry on. Best gift ever. That's an incredibly sweet story. Thanks for sharing. A brown plastic realistic cockroach nicknamed Freddy. We got it over 20 years ago, I don't remember where or why. Maybe a Halloween party? Anyway, my wife and I have been hiding it for each other ever since. It could take months for Freddy to pop up, but he always does. She will find it buried in the sugar pot. I will later find it inside a pair of shoes I rarely wear. It often makes us jump, and give a small fright. I'll hear my wife let a surprised gasp, then go, "Oh Freddy." For me, Freddy is a great symbol that our relationship is still solid after all these years, that we still take the time to have fun, to surprise each other. This is my favorite on the thread. Where else have you guys hidden him? Do tell, I'm Freddy to hear more. Pockets of shirt, of jackets. Any kind of dry food container. Under a carpet. Between slice of bread in a bag. In a sock. Inside a mug. I once hid it in her purse and she found it in front of a very puzzled clerk while trying to pay for something in a shop. My glasses were free with my insurance, so they're definitely the most important thing in my house. I see. Nice. It's a red envelope that used to contain $20. I kept the envelope because I got it from my boyfriend's grandmother. She's from China and these red envelopes are given to children/family during holidays and important events. When my boyfriend's parents and grandparents moved out of his childhood home, she gave out 3 envelopes, one for my boyfriend, one for my boyfriend's sister and one for me. This symbolized her accepting me as part of the family. I cried a bit after she gave it to me and I got a hug from her. I don't have grandparents and have a really rough relationship with my mom, so this meant a lot. I feel like a part of his family and am so happy for that. Edit, thank you all so much for the awards. I'm excited to show my boyfriend this later, smile. I keep my red envelopes even after I use the money, too. They are good luck tokens and it feels wrong to chuck them, even though I know it's silly. I have a heart-shaped rock that is about the size of a quarter. My son gave it to me when he was 3 and told me to keep it forever. I have it in my back pocket daily. Greater than I have it in my back pocket daily. Don't sit on many hard surfaces, I take it, it's pretty flat. The rock that is. Not very noticeable even when I do. There's a picture of my wife and I with our adopted daughter. The picture was taken when she was around 13 or so, but we didn't adopt her until she was 16. When we took, it was just us and a kid we kind of knew from church. It's so cool to look back on and see how far we've come. Edit, thanks for the awards and the kind comments, but I can promise you, we've gotten way more out of her living with us than she has. She's an amazing human being. If you'd like to read the story, check the comments below. You didn't just bring her home from church suddenly one day, did you? A ratty teddy bear passed down from my, much older, brothers to me. Is the only item I have that survived my insane childhood. Sounds like he makes a great heirloom. I have an old kitchen knife that's probably worth like 25 cents. But through some mysterious power of the universe it cuts better than any knife I've ever used. Meats. Veggies. Bread. Cheese. It doesn't matter. This thing glides through it all with ease and has never been sharpened. Easily my most important kitchen item. Edit, here's a picture of it, https://imager.com/a/dipntn9. The branding on the blade says Sears Flame Freeze, vanadium stainless, which I never bothered to check until someone asked. If you can find one, get it. I swear by this, bad Larry. Removed. A single post-it note folded into a paper airplane with the words "Will you be my boyfriend?" and 2 checkboxes labeled yes and yes. He's my husband now. Or, which one of you is the pilot?